All right, greetings. So I'm going to be going over how to install a virtual machine for free on a ARM enabled Mac, meaning like the M series chips, M1, M2, or 64 as well. This will also work. So the first thing you're going to need to download is the virtual machine. It's completely free. You can download it at their website, mac.getutm.app, or just like a UTM. You can get on the App Store and it costs 20 bucks and it'll auto update for you, or you can just get the download here. So next, once you get that, we're gonna need to get our license for Windows. And so just to point out here, Windows licenses are actually free. This is on the Microsoft's website, and you can get all the different versions, even Windows 11. Now, the caveat with Windows 11 is the ISO, which is what we use to set up the operating system, is only available in 64 on their website. And so what we need to do, and what it even recommends if you read through here, is you have to actually update this version first in order to get it. But luckily there's a lot of processes that have streamlined that. So there's an API that Microsoft uses. They call it UUP. It's for updating versions of Windows. And so what you actually do is you can ignore this step if you need the ARM version, or you can just download the 64-bit version right here on their site. Um, and then what you can do there is you can use the UUP dump and get either your 64-bit or ARM64. And what they do is they use the insider version because these are open release to the public. And so these licenses, what you're agreeing to in the terms is that you'll use it for application development and testing. And that's in the scope of our class. The other option that I really like that streamlines the whole process even further, and I would have used this first if I knew about it, so I haven't tested it, but I'm 99% sure that it works. And it's a lot easier than going through UUP dump because you have to use the terminal for this, and you have to get homebrew download and all that stuff. For this, it's an app on the App Store. It's called Crystal Fetch. Um, and you can actually just go to the App Store here, type in Crystal Fetch, and it just streamlines the process of going through the UUP dump. It does all the um, assembly and updating for you in there. So I would highly recommend Crystal Fetch ISO download. And then when you press right here, download, you select your versions, whatever you need, and then download. This is the terms that talks about using it for software development. So there's that. And then if we go to the next screen here, yeah, that covers everything there. This is their GitHub. It's actually open source and it's a UTM sponsored app. And so they're using that UUP dump, this website, and just streamlining it within their app. Next, what you're going to need to download is what you're going to download next is the drivers that we're going to use. Because if you don't download the drivers, you're going to get stuck on the Wi-Fi screen, and you're not going to be able to progress to set up the computer because it's going to say that you need a network because you don't have an internet card on your virtual machine. So this sets that up, and so you're going to go to this website here, and then you're going to download the download manually right here. And this is the ISO for the drivers. So you press here and then it automatically starts downloading, and you get Spice Guest Tools 0.164.4.iso. I don't know if there is other versions available. This is the one that's on UTM's website. It's the one that worked for me. So um, go there. You can see it's download on my device. Here is the ISO, as well as in my downloads folder, you can see the ISO for the actual operating system itself that came off of the UUP dump. Next, we're gonna open up UTM, and then what I want to show here is how it's all going to come together, and then I'll show you how to do it. So after you're done setting up your virtual machine and you put in your ISO file, this is where the ISO file is here. So select your ISO file for the operating system, and then this one you browse, and then you select your drivers. So that's really important. If you don't have those or you use the wrong one, you're gonna open it up and it's not a problem. You can just try it out first if you want, but everything's gonna be disproportional. The resolution's gonna be wrong and you won't be able to get past that internet screen. So when you boot up the app, it should look like this, virtualize or emulate. You're gonna press virtualize. You're gonna be adding Windows on the machine, and then you're gonna be installing Windows 10 or higher, and then you press browse, and then you select the ISO for the operating system. And this says install drivers and Spice tools automatically. When I did that, it didn't work. That's why I had to have, and I didn't know that for the longest time. I didn't realize that I didn't actually download those drivers. That's why I just had you guys download it manually so that way we can make sure that they're right. But go ahead and try this one first. If not, you can use the drivers that we downloaded. Press continue. The internet recommends using half of your memory so that way your host machine can be operating in the background and then default's fine. Continue. 64 gigabytes will be fine. If you want to share an album, it's read only. You can always set that up later. It's an option to set up later. Continue. I already have Windows downloaded one, so automatically name that to Windows 2. Press save, and then here we have our virtual machine. And you can see that it has UTM guest tools, the latest ISO as your pre-selection. So I need to go browse, and then I need to press the Spice tools and use that one. And then when you start setting up the machine, the only other thing that you need to know from me in this tutorial is as you're booting up, you need to start pressing any key on your keyboard to get into the install screen. So once that white bar is done, press any key, just keep spamming, and then now you're going to be able to get into the install screen. And this is my first time actually using the ISO from Crystal Fetch, but I assume since it's set up from the UUP dump that it'll be the same. So this loads up here. Setup is starting. I just want to show on screen really quick. So this isn't actually the window setup. This is what UTM has created to get past the initial startup phase. And then after that, it'll go to the actual Windows boot up. So this is really important here. We don't have a product key, and that's totally fine. You just press I don't have a product key. And then you can either select your preferred one. I'll just go with the Pro version. Press next. Then this is that same license that we already talked about, making sure that since we are using this version that you're using it for software and for testing. Then you press accept, and then you should only have one drive available. Press next. And then this is going to take forever, but we already did all the hard steps together. The ISO, just a note, the ISO for the operating system takes a lot of time. So prepare, it's like a 5 gigabyte file. People on the internet are saying it took them 99 minutes. Mine probably took even longer than that. And then after this is done, then you have Windows all set up. It'll just ask you some security questions. What password do you want? So hopefully that helps someone.